And you're welcome back. It's time for us to bring you the final hour, and this time we head to Rivers State as the political landscape in the state continues to simmer under the strain of federal intervention and judicial defiance. Now, a lot is going on in the state, which is what we're going to get into shortly. To begin with, we understand that following President Bola Ahmed Tinubu's declaration of a 6-month state of emergency in the state, Vice Admiral Ibokita Ibas's style of leadership has stirred national controversy. On April 8th, Vice Admiral Ibas appointed 23 local government area administrators, a move that directly contravened an earlier court order barring such appointments. The court has ruled in favor of maintaining the elected local government officials until their tenure expires. Civil society groups, legal bodies, and political actors have since condemned the appointments, citing a blatant disregard for judicial authority and democratic processes.
So Rivers State, in essence, is now at the intersection of federal overreach, some say judicial neglect, and also political turbulence. At the heart of this controversy is whether the emergency rule has now become a vehicle for unaccountable governance. So to help us unpack this and more, we're joined by two very interesting guests. We have Tomnokoro Okusunju. He's Labour Party chairman. You're welcome. Thank you very much. That's from Okpobonkoro LGA. Thank you for joining us, Tomnokoro.
Thank you for having me. Thank you.
In the studio here with us, we have Liberus Oshoma, his legal practitioner and of course friend of the house here at New Central. You're welcome. Thank you very much for joining us.
My pleasure always. Thank you.
Thank you for joining us.
I want to start from inside of the studio here with you, Liberus. Let's talk about the sole
It doesn't look as if Tamino is just here to listen to us, please.
Okay, let me ask Tamino then.
And then I would, because I have the whole lot to say.
Then let's do this. Tamino, first off, let's represent your opinion regarding the situation, state of emergency, the 23 local government administrators that have been applied. Go ahead, Tamino.
Okay, thank you very much. And then a very big thank you to the Esquire who is legally inclined, who is with you in the studio. We know, if we will tell ourselves the truth, we know that the sole administrator's appointment in Rivers State is totally wrong. It's totally illegal, and it's totally unheard of, if you would allow me to use that word. You know, a lot of people had shouted and said that past governments, past presidents, people like Obasanjo, people like Goodluck Jonathan, had appointed, had done state of emergencies. But if we also understand, while these state of emergencies were done and a bit of power were being given to the military, the governors were still in office. The suspension section 109, I think, that says that the governor, that there should be a state of emergency, did not include the suspension of the governor. The suspension of governor, a lot of unconstitutional acts have started happening. And if you will allow me, first, the illegal proclamation of the state of emergency, the unlawful appointment of a sole administrator, the defiance of Supreme Court orders. You will remember that there was a Supreme Court ruling that has said monies should not be paid to Rivers State. Tinubu eventually violated all of those. The false claim of the Rivers State House of Assembly, I am in Rivers State. And in fact, I left the house very early because I had a meeting at Hotel Presidential, and that's where I am right now. They came and said that the House of Assembly, part of what Tinubu had said, that the House of Assembly was totally in shambles. Ibokete, a 3-star general, during the time of military rule, it was totally unheard of to hear that a 3-star general is in charge of a state. The best you could do for a state was to put a lieutenant colonel. I'm sure I'm stating the fact. But to bring a 3-star general is like bringing a principal to become a class prefect. The first claim on our assembly, he had gone there. He has seen that the job 100% paid, 80% to be completed. Appointment of local government administrators. That's if I can even start entering, because I've seen that these two lions are here. They may not allow me to talk. So let me just keep talking. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you. But we would like you to round up so that we can, yeah.
Okay, appointment of local government. I have and in fact, as I'm talking to you, I'm reading a list of the illegality of the unconstitutional act, first sponsored by the federal through Bola Ahmed Tinubu. If this was legal, would he have allowed this to happen? We are seeing what is happening in Plateau, the killings. We are seeing what is happening in Zamfara. As a matter of fact, we know that what happened in Gokana that made him to give that state of emergency speech was all scripted. The people who live in the community said nothing happened. They just took videos, perhaps AI, and then they published it, and then that evening we heard that the governor was suspended. It did not take up to 2 days. The company that owns that pipeline came out and said that the pipeline is now working, which means, if you would allow me, nothing had happened to the pipeline. Now, we saw the Constitution of State Board, which also is, they said, restore peace. They did not tell you to come and play politics. I am in the Labour Party. I am not in the PDP, I am not in the APP, I am in the Labour Party. But whatever is happening in Rivers State affects me and affects you. I am outside the presidential, and because of the fear of who knows if the military will come out, who knows what will happen. Nobody is here at presidential hotel. Everybody is very skeptical. It has distorted our peace. We also heard recently that the NBA that was supposed to have had their conference in Port Harcourt, because of what is happening, they shifted it to Enugu. So it is
all right.
And it is shameful.
Tamnakoro,
As I summarize.
as you summarize, go ahead.
So it is shameful that some people will sit down and be excited that we have an Akwa Ibom man, if you allow me, over River State for this 6 months. I did the calculation, and it is 12.5% out of 100% of a 4 years rule. It is appalling.
All right, Tamnakoro. Tamnakoro Opusunju. Tamna, thank you very much. Thank you very much. Now, please, by the way, it would seem that your video is switched off, so we would like to see who we're talking to. So perhaps maybe you could help us put that on.
All right. Now, let me come back to the studio. 2 comments we're going to take here, sir, and I need you to give a right closing remarks. You said that, this affects you and the people, plus us as well, this move by the sole administrator, the emergency rule, and all that's happening in Rivers State. So let me ask the quiet part that nobody's going to say out loud. Is this a power grab or a punishment of Rivers State by the federal government? Your take.
I have always said this at every forum that I have the opportunity to speak. The competition has always been between Rivers State and Lagos. The last time I spoke, I said Lagos is Lagos because it had housed the colonial masters. And Rivers State is Rivers because it houses the oil production industry of Nigeria, regardless of Delta, Akwa Ibom, Cross River, Bayelsa, and the rest. Rivers State is the nation's capital for oil. And there is politics in everything we do. Socrates says, he had rather said, we are all political animals. And Rivers' loss, Rivers State's loss is Lagos' gain. Everything is political. Everything is tantamount to reducing our IGR. We had seen what Lagos declared 2 months ago, or I think last month, 250-something billion naira. And then we are here in Rivers State declared 40-something or 20-something billion naira monthly. I think it is totally orchestrated by the national to keep Rivers State, like I said, 12.5% deficit. Because these people that they have appointed, either as a sole administrator, a 3-star general be made a governor by proxy. 3-star general be made a sole administrator, and now we have had LGA sole administrators. What would they do? If not to pay salaries, which is not what the sole administrator can still do. So everything that affects us in Rivers State is tantamount and targeted at reducing, just like we had seen the NBA's release yesterday, that we know how much we lost. We know how much the people who sell food, the hotel owners, we know how much economy has also reduced. In fact, one of the big hotels in Rivers State declared that he has to return 25 million naira for those who had already booked. And this is the economy of the state. The man who owns the hotel will still pay tax to the state government. And where would he get this money? If not by releasing his rooms. So I think it is targeted, if you ask me. Right. And the Ikenga, as I conclude, Ikenga should also know that he's a factional secretary of the state. We have the Emeka Beke faction of APC. And until that matter is resolved at the Supreme Court level, he's just a factional member who is targeted.
Tamnakoro, thank you very much. Mr. Ikenga, I would ask a question, but I think you already have.
Oh, rather you're talking to Liberals.
Liberals, sorry.
Right, in one of the local government areas, you are at the grassroots. Was there instability to the point of an emergency rule and the suspension of a governor and his deputy?
Tamnakoro, that's
you.
Perhaps you just want me to talk. Would use this a sledgehammer to kill a fly? There was no, what will I say, that I'm emotional right now. There was no cause. In fact, nobody had paraded themselves on the road in form of protest. The only reason that gave Tinubu some sort of leverage to come up that evening by 7 o'clock, and say he had declared a state of emergency was because there had been a stage play of blowing of pipeline at Gokana. Gokana is one of the Ogoni local governments. And like I had said in my opening speech, the people of that community said nothing of such happened. And we only saw videos. And then in the next 2-3 days, the company who owns that pipeline came out to say that nothing happened. So it was shameful. Like I had always told people, that you come to a house, I use the analogy of a house, you're a visitor, you come to a house, the house is well cleaned, there's an AC, air freshener, well arranged, and you come and you're telling the owners of the house that you want to sweep and clean it. It is appalling, it is distasteful, it is shameful, and it should be condemned totally. There was no essence of asking that we should have the state of emergency. Look at Zamfara now, look at Plateau State, look at Borno. Look at what is happening right now with the killings. We are seeing the dead bodies. Everybody has phones to put online. We are seeing, are those ones not enough, not morally enough, let me talk like lawyers, to call a state of emergency? But because one pipeline was allegedly blown, they called for a state of emergency. We know that it is the presidential antics to collect Rivers State, just like you have asked Ikenga, who is not responding accurately. It is the presidential antics to collect Rivers State by the back door. We know where this problem started. We have seen video of Wike, where Wike was saying that he was going to deliver Rivers State from top to bottom to the president. But the governor had asked to remain in the PDP. These are some of the fundamental issues, not even about the money. If the governor had wanted to move, he would have moved, because he still calls Wike his Oga. If he wanted to move, he would have moved. But he has chosen to still stay. You had heard Wike when they had said he was sick. He came out to say he was not sick, and then he finally said that he was going to deliver Rivers State.
All right, Taminokoro, we have to start rounding up, so we'll take that as your closing statement. Thank you very much. I'm going to let Judith, who do you suggest we go to next as we round up?
As we wrap up this conversation. Is a follow-up question from your statement. Mr. Kenya, we could go on. There's no time. Time of 30 seconds. Your closing remarks, very quickly, because we're pressed for time.
The both of them, both liberals and the Kenga, they did more than 30 seconds, but I would keep to 30 seconds.
I'm sorry.
6 months is even too much a time for us to have peace. As I'm talking to you now, there is peace. In fact, there is peace and relative peace. But this in Rivers State is absolute peace. Everybody goes about their lawful duties. Nobody is misbehaving. Those who are protesting to have their right. They are protesting to have the governor come back, and they are protesting peacefully. We had protesters on Monday or Tuesday. The police came, threw tear gas at them, shot in the air, in fact, shot one at the leg. However, it did not result into more violence. After that had happened, they went back. And Rivers State is still peaceful. All banks, schools, churches, the marketplaces, everybody. So I think 6 months is even too much. In the next 2 months, we should have our governor, because if it were 6 months, we would have said there was war. But there's no war in Rivers State. There are no killings. Nothing really is happening. We just have
Taminokoro Pusunju, we want to say thank you very much. Mr. Liberus Oshoma, thank you very much. And of course, Mr. Chibike Kenga, thank you very much for an hour of riveting conversation here. Let's continue to see the instance in Rivers State.